Hey, good morning, everyone. This is a video to help with something that I got caught short on very often in the beginning, and it's to do with fees. So when I started, I was playing with 400 US dollars, and I was risking 1% of that. And what I would see is the market, let's say, wasn't particularly volatile. So my strategy would say you should enter a position, and I would enter and I would hit my stop loss and I would lose a huge amount of money. So what I mean by that is if you're risking $4, it's all relative. And I would find that I would lose $5 or $6 and I couldn't understand why. And sometimes when I would hit my take profit, I think, oh, brilliant, I've made my eight, and I've only made about 5.5 or $6. And it was very frustrating. So I learned, probably because I was too impatient, the hard way, that the exchange will take fees for your trades. And what you need to be aware of in the beginning is how to not necessarily minimize those fees, but at least be aware of them so you can maximize your take profit. So what I've got here is an example. And I'm looking at Bitcoin, and I've gone back a little bit to a period where it was relatively, I'm not going to say flat, but the price wasn't particularly volatile. And my strategy says I should enter here. And it's brilliant. I would have hit my 1 to 2 risk to reward, and that's fantastic. However, if I bring up my spreadsheet here that I use to help calculate this, and you're looking at this one here, what I see is if I enter, and I'll pull up the details on this side so you can see them. If I'd entered this particular trade and I'm risking $4, my fees were $1.23, and that is whether I make a loss or a profit. And so if I'm making a loss, as in it's hit my stop loss, I'm actually losing $5.23. But I'm only meant to be risking $4. So if you keep making those mistakes as you're learning, and you will, then it gets very frustrating because you're losing a lot more than you should and you don't understand why. But also, when you hit your take profit, you are not winning as much as you were expecting. So what I did do was I would compensate. So I might make my take profit a bit higher, so it covered all those fees. My advice is don't do that. You want to maybe cover a few of them, just a little bit, but you ultimately just want to be aware that if the trade is really small, it's up to you. You could probably go for it. Make it a 1 to 2.1, 2.2 if you really wanted to, or accept that you're going to make a 1 to 2, but your fees are going to be $1, and you're happy just to make a profit. Or you could say, well, I'm worried because if I hit my stop loss, I'm losing a lot more and I'm burning through more than 1% of my balance. So I want to be careful. So just be aware when you calculate what the fees are. Are you sure you want to enter your trade? And what you'll see on this little spreadsheet that I built myself is it says here decision. Is it a good decision? Yes, go for it. Is it a bad decision? Just be aware of the fees. And it doesn't mean don't do it. It just means be aware it's probably not the best decision. And the way I've calculated it is I've said my minimum risk to reward is 175, so that includes the fees. So in this case, my P&L, profit and loss, is the return on investment minus the fees equals that. And if that figure is lower than 1.75 times my risk, it says here it's bad, and it just reminds me. So if I jump out of this and I scoot across, so that one technically would have hit profit, but the fees were quite high. Here I am, I'm in the same market as in it's Bitcoin. It's just there's a lot more volatility. This particular trade, and I'll bring it up, looks like this. And what you see here is a trade that would have cost me 17 cents in fees compared to this 123. So it's the same market, Bitcoin in both cases. It just so happens that the volatility at this point in time is better than it was when I was looking at this position. It's got nothing to do with being short or long. It's just to do with volatility. And I thought, oh, I'm quite happy to pay 17 cents on a $4 risk, and I'm going to make $7.95. Fantastic, enter. And I feel a lot better. Whether I hit my stop loss or my profit, I feel a lot better personally because the fees are minimal. So it's just calling out, be aware, especially in the beginning, because it really is frustrating. be aware of the fees. And then there's another bonus detail, which is also a little bit frustrating, is the way that trades are closed. So when you enter a trade, it's typically limit. And a limit order means that you will fill the order at the price that you choose. A market order means that the price that you get filled at may not necessarily be at just the market price it is right now. It will keep eating through the bids or asks, i.e., if you are buying, and these are the cells here, it will keep on eating through these orders until the size of your order is filled. So if you started here, for example, at $61,011, and you place a very large, what I mean is you're buying a lot of Bitcoin here, and it started at 61,010, and it kept going up and up and up and up, your actual price that you would have bought at may not be 61 and 10, it could be 61 and 20. Now, that's not a very good example because that's a percentage-wise, that's a very small increase. But I'm just pointing out that when the order gets closed, you hit your stop loss, it will market close the order. So it will eat through all of these and it will stop when your size of your order is filled. So if you're already paying high fees, $1.23 in my example, and the order is being filled at a much lower price, you're paying even more just to close out your position. So I learned the hard way. But in the beginning, when I was hitting my stop losses, I was losing a lot of money through fees and those market orders, and it was frustrating. You can't help the market order close when it hits your stop loss, but you can help the fees. So it's just being aware of that fact, so you don't get too frustrated and you can manage that position, that situation, sorry, to your best advantage. Hopefully that's helpful. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you.